distrust, streaming seems like a viable alternative for a number of reasons, especially as it continues to enter the real world. Now, one of them is that its unfiltered and instantaneous nature allows viewers to witness events as they unfold in real time, which facilitates trust while also minimizing the potential manipulation we might associate with edited news broadcasts. Another is that when streamers are reporting from the field, they're normally going to center the perspectives of regular people actively participating in the event rather than highly paid experts or pundits typically featured on mainstream news shows. You know, as someone who was personally watching both streams from the UCLA protest earlier this year and then also watching local LA news, I'll simply say that we saw two pretty different perspectives on what was happening.
I think this, alongside with like what Brett did, like all the other content creators that were there, like I think this was I think one of my most consequential things that I've done. What? You're blinded by your hate of the gnome and are not being truthful. Both of you are misrepresenting each other. Maybe this is by design and I'm a naive viewer. Yes, you're a 24-month subscriber that is a naive viewer. I'm always in awe of how people can maintain this, like both sides are the same principle. Yeah. Yes, you are. I am not misrepresenting Destiny's pro-Israel, pro-genocide position. He has personally said it himself. You're talking about a dude who has openly, actively mentioned like masturbating to my podcast co-host's AI porn as an own, okay? Who has very publicly put his name out there to be like, yeah, I will do that. And his community that still also repeats those words. I don't think there's any both sides. There's nothing that you can equate in this circumstance that I've done. I care about the issues. I care about, policies. I care about offering context to real-time news coverage. He cares about drama. Anyway, why was this your most consequential stream? Because I think there's no better demonstration of mainstream media openly and actively framing an issue in a nefarious way than basically fucking pointing to what the actual encampments look like from the inside versus how the media covered it. Like, it was such a glaringly obvious piece of original reporting that went against what the media's overarching narrative was about these encampments being like aggressive in nature. I'm still waiting to see what this person is saying. This is the most active defense that you can engage with without coming across as like a pure partisan in this situation. Oh, well, both of you guys do stuff. And it's always funny when they say that, because there was a fucking Discord. There was literally like Discord screenshots of them mentioning me like 90,000 times versus my Discord. We looked at it and the name Destiny was mentioned 9,000 total times. And the overwhelming majority of that was coming from the gaming discussion part of my Discord because they were talking about the video game. So it's almost always like 90-10. But people still maintain this position as though there's like both sides are doing this shit. For the past 6 years at this point, I've rarely ever mentioned this person. He has never stopped mentioning me. Yeah. Oh, here, this is the one. This was the link. It was crazy. Saying that a Nazi is better than a terrorist, which is better than a registered sex offender, which is better than a Hasan Piker fan. Just normal, not unhinged statements. The only time he mentioned he didn't want you talking about him was when he was getting destroyed by Finkelstein. Yeah. That was a wonderful moment online. Why can't we chat his name though? I know you don't care about him enough to ban his name in chat. For obvious reasons, because I don't want him to I don't want him to like, I don't want mentions of Boner Chelly to be gumming up the works. Okay. Like right now, this is a great example. We've taken a sidestep from this. We stopped the coverage of whatever the fuck we were looking at, and now his insane fan base is just going crazy over it. But what did that guy say? I'm pro-Palestine all the way. Actually went away from your stream in 2021 since you were not bringing up Palestine. You're the best on Palestine, and that's what matters the most to me. But both of you are bad faith. Maybe there's way too much bad blood between the two of you. Dude, why is it that whenever I ask for a direct fucking question, these guys never actually bring anything up? You know? It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. I always ask, I'm like, what do you mean by this? Like, what have I done that is like bad faith? And there's no good answer. It's always just like some weird, vague generalization.
Pro-Palestinian activists in this barricaded encampment refuse.
Can you guys talk one time? You guys are top political live streamers. First of all, come on. It's like fucking Albania saying between us and the United States, we are what comprise of NATO, just like back in the day when Albania was saying between us and China, we comprise of 1 billion. Yeah, you're being a little nice, I think. Is this group cyberstalking? Yes. You know what you've done. Yeah. I'm as pro-Palestine as it gets, which is why you were just as bad as the pro-genocide sponsored by Israel N-word use defending white guy. Hey man, why don't you talk to the guy who's like objectively pro-genocide, who has actively cyber-stalked you with his community for the past 6 years, who has taken every opportunity to lie about you to as many people that will listen. Why don't you just like be charitable to that guy who you disagree with on virtually every issue? Just talk to him after he got banned for literally mass harassment over and over again for any person, including myself, but I'm at least like large enough to withstand these kinds of attacks. But like any creator, my size, all the way down to like tiny creators with like 30 fucking concurrent viewers. Come on, bro. Good faith, bro. That's the difference. I want nothing to do with this person. Did you just leak why he got banned? No, there are a million reasons. This is my suspicion. Why don't you just block him? I have. What are you talking about? I have. There is not a moment in my day where I think about this person or his community. It's only when I'm live when his fans come in here with like their 11th sock account, or sometimes dual fans, which is even weirder, that have been around for a very long time, where they come in and they're like, well, both of you guys have done stuff. I have my reasons. I have. Will you condemn Twitch for unbanning Sneeko and not unbanning Boner Chelly? Yeah, I think it's fucking ridiculous that Twitch unbanned Sneeko. I think both Sneeko and Boner Chelly should continue being banned. If it were up to me, I would never fucking unban Sneeko. Or are you insane? Are you out of your fucking mind? Do you think I have you think I have a positive association with like Twitch turning around and unbanning some random fucking freaks, dude? Are you crazy? I'd much rather unban iShowSpeed before unbanning someone like fucking Sneeko. And for the record, I am pro rehabilitation. It's just someone needs to be rehabilitated first. Okay. All right.
Using in order to disperse.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest! And the efficacy of these sorts of streams has definitely caught the attention of politicians who want to
Mods got to him before me. The anti-natalist weirdo.
speak directly to younger voters. You know, at the end of the 2020 election season, Congresswomen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar jumped on Twitch to organize a Get Out the Vote stream with a variety of popular streamers, politically minded and otherwise. They played the then popular multiplayer game Among Us, and they had over 500,000 people, most of whom were of early voting age, who were there to watch and ask questions about the candidates and policies in a way that felt a lot more authentic and casual than a press conference or even a real town hall.
Imagine showing up to the doctor and just saying you need help and getting it.
You know, more recently at the 2024 DNC, Hasan Piker was on location streaming until he maybe got kicked out. And of course, politicians on the right have also been attempting to use streaming as a way to get out their messages, as in Trump's aforementioned appearance on Aiden Ross's stream, in which Ross, I guess, gifted Trump a Rolex and a Cybertruck. I can't imagine Donald Trump driving a car. Can he drive a car? Is there video of him driving? I've seen him on a golf cart, not a car. If you have video of him driving a car, send it to us. I don't think he can drive a car. And in 2022, GOP rep Matt Gaetz live streamed on Twitch. And hey, if you didn't see it, it did not go super well. You know, while my streaming numbers are not amazing, I consistently dominate Matt Gaetz, which is something. So if the revolution won't be televised, will it at least be streamed? Friends, it's hard to say. But it is worth noting that it's not all good vibes and egalitarian spirit in the world of political streaming. There's a bunch of stuff we didn't include in this video, to be very honest with you, because a lot of the right-wing streaming folks that are popular very much are little Nazis, and we didn't want to put little Nazis in the video. Now, plenty of folks who are out there use their platforms to just reinforce the status quo while cultivating audiences that are more sycophantic than curious. But on a personal level, during my experience streaming here on YouTube, I've really gotten to see how quickly communities of open-minded and empathetic and weird people can form, and in how these communities can be used to facilitate spaces of critical thinking about what's going on in the world. Special shout out to all the Wisecrack live heads out there. I really like you all very much. Thanks for hanging out with me every week. I also do want to give a shout out to Garrett Kruper. Now, he helped us with this video, and he recently finished a whole PhD project on political streaming. He shared some of that research with us. He helped out with this. And if you want to learn more about Garrett and his work, tune in to our stream on Wednesday, and we're going to have him on to talk about his project and more about streaming. And in general, if you've ever wanted to check out one of our streams, we stream every Monday and every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific right here.
Oh my God, bro. Y'all are so fucking desperate for any crumb of interaction. Please stop, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.
On YouTube. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, let us know what you think, and especially let us know if there's political streamers that you like a lot, especially if they're maybe less well known. It would be great to give those people some shine. But most important,
coming out of the motherfucking gutter, dude, the moment that like even this shit is like briefly mentioned, his fucking weirdo fan base and like adjacent orbiters immediately, they're like, it's just like that fucking one guy that came up to me at TwitchCon, bro. He's like, come on, why don't you debate Destiny? It's like, bro, why do you even remotely think this would be productive in any capacity? Jesus fucking Christ. I thought by this point we might have banned every single person, and I'm constantly in awe that there are still always new sock accounts. Like, it is wild, especially because like, I don't think there's another fucking community that is this resilient with the limited amount of size that they have, but like the amount of impact that they have that is so fucking outsized because they're just constantly, permanently fucking online. Holy shit. One of your security guards loved that you shit on that kid, by the way. It's just like, dedicate your life to anything else. Please, man. Please. I promise you, you will be much happier. I promise. And it's like my fucking idiotic community members too. Can you comment on this asshole saying you're endorsing raping women? It's actually so gross. No, dude, because that is an insane thing. And you bringing that up literally is just giving it legitimacy. How do you not understand that? Why the fuck would I ever in a million years respond to something so fucking stupid, so obviously out of context? Are you fucking... Are you actually brain dead? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, sometimes I can't tell if like this is a person who thinks they're doing the right thing. Yeah. That tweet had 6K likes before Hasan put it on screen. Now it has 19K likes. You're all fucking drama addicted idiots. Oh, 100%. I genuinely want to get it. I genuinely want to dive into the minds of people like this that are just like, no, dude, I don't understand. Like, the reason why I have so many fucking active haters is because I already gave them a crumb by consistently, repeatedly trying to answer misinformation about me. Okay? People would make shit up and I'd be like, oh, wait, hold on. That's completely made up. Let me actually explain the truth to you. And over the course of like 5-6 years, I came to the conclusion that, oh, nobody actually gives a shit about the truth. When I turn around and address it, it just gives it more fucking breathing room. It gives it more legitimacy. And it is a signal for all the people that are waiting in the sidelines to be like, yeah, fuck this guy. That's it. It's all fucking bad faith. Here.
Say, for the sake of argument, you're the kind of progressive lefty with a platform who gets a share of harassment, seasonal or perennial, from reactionaries. In this situation, you will inevitably hear one who positions themselves as a reasonable moderate ask, why don't you respond to criticism?
What a perfect video from the alt-right playbook. Why don't you respond to criticism? Innuendo Studios has an incredible library of content on this shit. And they are so incredibly prescient. Okay?
Say,
always
for the sake of
forever.
argument, you're the kind of seasonally here. Why don't you respond to criticism? There's a lot going on in that question, more than is immediately obvious, and it's worth understanding. First, is that the question is not only directed at you, it exists as a marker showing up in your Q&As, your comment sections, your Twitter threads.
Lolcow Hasan becoming self-aware. Yes, dude, you are right. And you are not fantasizing inside of your echo chamber. I am a lol cow. Yes, that is what's going on. That's why, NBC and CNN are writing articles, positive articles, about the impact that I've had, or congresspersons that I talk to at the DNC are talking about the positive impact that I've had in their community organizing efforts. And the opinion that you maintain that I am a lol cow is shared by 3,000 other sycophants trapped in their fucking mother's basement that spend their entire daily existence on Discord, Reddit, and Twitter. You got it. You are definitely not hallucinating this position as a 35-year-old who feels like they haven't actually been able to reach the levels of success that they thought they would get to by this point in their lives. I'm delusional, Giga Chad. I know. I do wish you well. And I do think that you can get better. It's just the first step is to unironically separate yourself from the communities that you find yourself in. Straight up. Let's continue.
To imply to anyone paying attention to you that there is some wealth of legitimate criticism that you have long ignored. There may well be a specific point this person is referring to, but it's often left unspecified or generalized, so that the content and the quantity of the criticism is left to audience imagination. It is meant to publicly undermine your legitimacy. Second, it's meant to make you question whether there is some legitimate criticism out there in the din of people screaming at you. You're not perfect, and a knock-on effect of being harassed is you get numbed out, unable to discern good faith from bad, often removing yourself from the very streams through which your peers used to correct you because of the endless flow of garbage coming through those channels now. But the only way to verify the ambiguous claim that there is some criticism worth responding to is to once again strap on waders and climb back in, which is often what your critic really wants. Third, well, the question isn't really, why don't you respond to criticism? Odds are you do respond to some criticism. People in your position are often addressing or preempting criticism all the time, arguably too much. No, what this non-specific question is really asking is, why don't you respond to my criticism? They'll let it sound like you've been ignoring everyone, but they mean, why are you ignoring me? They're going to insist you owe them a response, that their critique, regardless of your opinion of it, is valid and demanding of immediate attention. Odds are there are dozens of people saying the same thing, all at the same time. Fourth, odds are good that you have in fact addressed their specific complaint, but not in a manner they will accept.
You can tell they're a Destiny fan by their past logs asking if it's okay in certain circumstances for a white person to say the N-word. Donald Trump AI, you don't want to know what Hasan's doing inside my echo chamber. He's a previous sub, dude. Chill. Is it wrong for a teacher to say the N-word in a lecture about Jim Crow? Is there ever a case where it's okay for a white person to use the N-word? Why are y'all like this, bro? Why? Why are y'all here? Take a week off, okay? Just take a fucking week off, please. Please, dude. Please. Why is this such an important motivating factor for you? Oh my God.
This one person's criticism is likely not unique. You may have covered it somewhere in your output purely because you know what kinds of arguments are getting thrown at you.
Isn't this just about you and the house stuff, Lamau? Like, they now feel they have something real to critique, but they don't? Yes. This is something that happens to many leftist content creators who are placed into a situation where they have to abide by standards that they themselves didn't even set for themselves, that have nothing to do with their worldview at all. Being like an online leftist is constantly being held up to a higher standard than everybody else, but also beyond being held up to a higher standard than everybody else, a standard that they claim you actually created for yourself when it has nothing to do with your worldview whatsoever. That's usually where this comes from.
you, and you're just covering your bases. There's a decent chance your critic doesn't actually consume enough of your work to have seen it, but it's maybe even more likely that they are fully aware of your counter-argument. Maybe one of your fans directed them to it, but they don't consider a response legitimate unless it is directed at the critic. Covering it in a different context or on a different platform doesn't count. They are owed a...
Dude, this is literally like that one guy the other day who came in and was like, Hasan is secretly an ultra-nationalist, pro-Turkish, like, ultra-nationalist guy. He never talks about the Kurds. And then I literally was like, you're wrong. I have actually talked about the Kurds. And I gave him examples and, like, videos that I have actually covered about the issue, okay? And then he turned around and said, no, it only got 100,000 views, so it doesn't count. I need you to do a video where you just direct the camera, say you hate the Grey Wolves, and you talk about the Turkish ultranationalist movement, and then that video has to get more than 100,000 views. And it's ridiculous. Like, there is no... like, that person is not a serious person. You know what I mean? He literally was like, I didn't see it, so it didn't happen. And okay, even if it did happen, now I'm adding additional prerequisites. If your actual issue with me is a genuine disagreement that you have with one of my positions, we can have a conversation about that. But if your goal is to simply go, nope, I'm right and you're wrong, then yeah, we can't have a normal conversation at all.
Statement they can respond to directly because they want the argument to continue. So really the question is, why don't you respond to my criticism on my terms?
Yes.
Finally, even if you did respond to them by name, it's likely your response would still be disqualified. If you were to summarize their argument in any way, they would claim you are building a straw man. If you isolated any specific critique or pointed to the cruelty that accompanied it, they would claim you're cherry-picking. You must, it seems, first present the criticism full and unabridged before you may respond to it. Which is to say, the only correct way to respond to criticism is to platform the critic. And there are dozens.
But even if you platform the critic and then you destroy them, quote unquote, in the marketplace of ideas, then all of the other people with that same interest in gaining notoriety by behaving like this will now feel more galvanized. This is why back in the day, I used to fucking do Discord debates, hop in the Discord, right? Okay? And I would do it all the fucking time. But the only thing that I realized that cultivated was a community that was inherently hostile and very toxic and only cared about the blood sport of it all. They only cared about the debate. They only cared about who was rhetorically more gifted in that situation. They were not interested in learning new things, unless they were kind of learning new things in the format of a debate. And every single time I brought these people forward, obviously they did not know how to handle themselves on camera with the new amount of attention that they were reaching. And for that reason, and also because they were just bad at arguing their positions and their positions were bad, they would look like fucking dumbasses. Now that made me look good in the eyes of all those people that wanted more debate, more blood sport, right? But there were so many people that also had those exact same positions that would then go, hold on, that guy was a dumbass. Pick me. Talk to me. I'm actually a smart guy. You're too afraid to talk to me. And then I would pull them up. I would do the exact same thing, and they would look silly. And then there would be 10 other guys in the chat going, hold on, that guy was a dumbass. Pick me instead. I will actually do a better job. This yielded 0 positive interactions. Okay? That's it. That's it.
Thousands who expect this of you, who will tear into you for not addressing in meticulous detail every single critique they have ever tossed your way, and in the same breath make fun of you for talking too much. Because they don't want to move on from why don't you respond to criticism. As a rhetorical tactic, it's pretty ace. To announce before the argument is even stated that it is thus far undefeated? Mwah. Because any response you make is going to keep the focus on you and not their argument. It's not worth responding to? Well, why should the accused get to decide what is and isn't worth responding to? I have responded repeatedly, well, why didn't you respond in this particular way? None of this looks at whether the criticism had any credibility to begin with, only at whether your response is following procedure. So now, there are criticisms that have been leveled against me that I have never engaged with. Say, for instance, that you shouldn't listen to me because I'm just 4 eels in a trench coat. How would I respond to that? What could I say that isn't exactly what 4 eels in a trench coat would say? I mean, I'm not wearing a trench coat, but obviously the first thing 4 eels...
I have a friend who's like this with you, and I've spent quite a bit of time showing him clips where he addresses gripes. Eventually, he just came out and said, well, I just don't like him. That's perfectly fine. Okay? And there's a prescription for that, too. He probably likes something that I defend pretty fucking vociferously, and that's all it would take for him to change his mind. Stop trying to address the actual fucking fake, false criticisms that these people have towards me. Okay? Identify what they actually care about, and then show a video on that thing that I've definitely talked about and debated. That's it. That's it. Because I talk about a litany of issues. Okay? There are plenty of people who were like, Hasan is a fucking white supremacist, or Hasan is a libtard, or whatever the fuck. And then they saw my commentary on Palestine. Maybe they didn't know what my opinion on Palestine was before, but then they saw it after October 7 and were like, oh my God, I was really wrong about him. Okay? Because that was an issue that they cared about. The same goes for abortion, or the same goes for Black Lives Matter, police brutality, criminal justice reform. Okay? There's always something that your friends, if they're your friends, they probably have like-minded opinions to you. Okay? There's a reason why the most common thing that a lot of people say whenever I do a collaboration with like another content creator, one of the most common things that you hear in the comments section is, I had no idea this was a normal dude. I had no idea that he was actually kind of fucking chill. The reason why they say that is because they've never actually seen me outside of a circumstance where a hater is like greatly shaping the narrative of how bad of a person I am. That's it. That's why I also always say, the greatest, the greatest fucking thing that you can do in this circumstance, is just get someone to have an ounce of charitability and watch for an extended period of time. Okay? Because if someone is in here for an extended period of time, they are going to inevitably realize that perhaps they were deluded and wrong about the opinions that they had. Okay?
Deals would do when people start to catch on is switch to hoodies. I could show you my birth certificate that proves I was born of a human woman at a birth weight that 4 eels would not add up to, but did that work for Obama? Or did the guy who said the birth certificate was fake get elected president? And obviously, all of my exhaustively researched and carefully argued points about how fascism has evolved on the social internet are suspect if I can't even prove I'm human. We stayed at war with Iraq for 7 years after the government announced that the weapons of mass destruction we were looking for never existed. And there are people to this day who still believe we found them? So what hope do I, a mammal who would make mediocre sushi, stand in the face of that? So, if you ever see this claim out in the wild, why haven't you responded to blank? Ask yourself, do you know what blank is? Do you yourself agree it's a valid question? And are you sure it hasn't already been answered? And don't repeat the question unless you've got 3 yeses.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo!
Great video overall. Anyway, a major reason why I don't fucking address like the drama baiters, even though it sometimes can yield good content, is that it ultimately destroys the stream, like the flow of the stream. It turns it into just like a me operation where other people take notice of me reacting to them and then start behaving in troll-like ways. And then all I would be doing if I were to address all of these things would just be to address all these things. It'd be like when people say, why don't you call out everyone that subscribes? The entire stream would be me calling out everyone that subscribes. That's all I'd be doing. I remember earlier this year, I told a friend that they didn't like your content since it appeared more driven for engagement than educational and informative. However, over the last couple of months, I watched a lot of your content and developed a lot of respect for what you do. Thank you for using this platform to educate and spread critical thinking around some of the most important and relevant topics today. I really appreciate it. Thanks, One Up Dog. Here it is.
I don't know about you, but I'm walking away from the blue party and closer to Jesus.
I love this shit, dude. That's what I'm talking about, dude. This converted me. I am delivered. I ain't gay no more. Hogriah Carey. From the woods to the hood. Yeah, I mean, she's rhyming. The fuck? Call 4G auto blow. Excuse me. 4G self suck. 4G auto suck. Let me tell you something, okay? He's a married man. He already got one thick lady locked down. He's not looking for another, okay? Calm down. All right, let's look at some fun shit.